Well, I think we all know who we're rooting for in the Super Bowl. This is Corey, and this is the O The Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. It is...
Did you swallow your gum?
I choked on it. It is 8:50 p.m. Pacific time. That makes it 11:50 p.m. Eastern time. And O The Anthem is live from coast to coast, broadcasting from the hashtag OTLA studios high above the 110 freeway in beautiful downtown Los Angeles, California. Welcome to episode 198 of the podcast.
Yeah, thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for doing anything that you do that helps us. It's all appreciated. It's all loved by us.
And of course, you can find O The Anthem at O The Anthem on all your social networks. Make sure you go in there and follow and turn that little bell on so you get notifications on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook. Of course, you're watching us right now on Facebook Live. So make sure you follow the show anywhere that you can.
Yeah. And I guess I shouldn't have assumed early. Are you rooting for somebody else in the Super Bowl other than the Eagles?
I am rooting. Well, I'm rooting for me to get drunk because it'll be the first weekend that I'm drinking of the year. So that's going to be. I'm rooting for myself if that's something.
Rooting for survival.
Yeah,
yeah.
But one other thing, make sure you check out otheanthem.com. You can find links there to all of the past episodes of the broadcast. You can also find links to Corey's work at Corey Baker Filmmaker. You can find links to my books that are available on Amazon, and of course, you can find the Amazon link. Make sure you go there and make that your link to Amazon. Anytime you buy anything there, it costs you nothing extra, but helps out the podcast by giving us a little something for sending you there. So it's the best way to help support the podcast right there on the Amazon link. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So, yes. Am I cheering for the Eagles? No. Am I cheering for the Patriots? Also no. I'm cheering for, hey, I've been sober for 30 days, and let's get that undone.
Yeah, so, let's do horrible things to my liver.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I'll get all the impurities out and then just throw them right back in. So, but I am happy for certain posse members who have been waiting a long time for an Eagles Super Bowl.
We got Go Birds written twice by Rob Clark. That's how important it is to him.
And I really need someone to call Child Protective Services because I am tired of seeing the child abuse that's coming out from the Clark household.
With the Fly Eagles Fly.
Do not brainwash your children to sing Fly Eagles Fly. That is just... She's going to have to grow up in Baltimore. It's going to be bad for her. Why would you do that to your child? I don't understand.
I think that it builds character.
Yeah.
It's
being an Orioles fan.
Yeah, exactly.
But she is adorable while doing it. So, yes, it's going to be fantastic to see pictures of all of the posse children wearing their Eagles gear and cheering on their team. So... good for them. And for Burns as well. Burns will be enjoying the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Really, that was the combination that I wanted least out of the Super Bowl, the Patriots and Eagles. But, you know.
I didn't care about the NFC. I was happy either way. I was happy for my friends who are Eagles fans if the Eagles made it, especially because they've been so long suffering. And I would be, there'd be a point of the Vikings making it where I'd be happy as well, because it's the home Super Bowl and that's never happened before, and I think that'd be really compelling.
I really wanted the home Super Bowl. That's all I really cared about. So.
I mean, at this point, it doesn't really matter. So
anybody but the Patriots in the AFC and Vikings in the NFC to get the home Super Bowl. But here we are. I'm not sure how well this Super Bowl will be attended and or watched. Well, I'm sure it'll be attended well, but who knows what the views are going to look like, because not really two teams that are going to turn it out. I mean, Patriots in 2006 maybe, but now you get your Boston people and your New England people. But
I'm just so sick of the Patriots. Like, I just want I want them to be on the same bus with all the people who talk during movies.
Yeah,
and just have it like careen off a cliff somewhere. And
Corey nearly had.
There were no survivors.
He nearly had a cardiovascular event last night in the movie theater. So first of all,
I almost threw my drink at people.
Yeah, that's where he was. But first of all, we are seeing a lot more movies, and thanks to MoviePass, they can actually do that. If you'd like to learn a little more about MoviePass, check out the video on my channel where I review MoviePass, what it was to get it, how difficult it is to use it, everything. But if you're wondering whether you should get it, we've been to 10 movies in the last 2 weeks, probably.
Not the last 2 weeks, but certainly 10 movies in the last
a lot.
2 months or whatever.
So we went to 2 last weekend, 3 this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't go to any last week in the middle of the week, did we?
No, I don't think so.
Because Roberto's been out of town, so we haven't been going. But
right.
We'll probably hit 10 by the end of the month. That'd be next Wednesday. So, yeah.
So we're paying like $1 a movie.
Yeah.
at that rate.
It's a beautiful thing. But definitely check it out. It's worthwhile. We went to go see Downsizing last night, which I thought was really interesting. Wasn't what I expected it to be, but I'm sure that there's a place they could find out more about that movie somewhere, right?
Yeah, I've my film reviews are being worked on right now. Everything I've seen this weekend is going up shortly. I'm working through editing them all at the moment, but the first 3 are up right now, and you can find those at my YouTube, which is easiest found at CoreyBakerFilmmaker.com, and click on the YouTube icon.
There you go.
It'll take you right there. Because now I can't have a YouTube.com/Corey Baker or something like that. It's the bane of my existence. All I want is to be able to send people to.
I was rocking Robert N. Cheek for 2 years before they took it away.
Oh, did they take it away?
Yeah, if you had it, you lose it.
Really?
Yeah. You have to search by username now.
Is that the same thing with the?
Don't mess with it. I don't want to.
Let's not.
We've had enough.
Let's not do any juju
tonight.
With the.
Yeah. But so there was a guy, and here's the thing. I love the idea of having alcohol served in movie theaters. I think it separates like adults. Adults can go to the movies and they can drink in there. It'd be nice if I could bring in my outside alcohol, but nonetheless, it's nice.
Technically you could.
I guess you could sneak in candy.
Yeah,
too,
if you're
and all
sly
that
and
stuff
like that.
But I appreciate that we can have alcohol at the movies. What I don't appreciate is that they overserve people so that the guy last night, who was clearly drunk and yelling at the screen and or talking to the people next to him, it was ridiculous. And I would trying to figure out who it was, but I couldn't help but concentrate on Corey, who he was about to lose it and jump over the railing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I also, the first time the entire theater shook because of the house downstairs.
Yeah.
I was like, is it an earthquake? Is this the big one? Are we in Hollywood for it? Like,
wouldn't that be weird? Be able to say you were in Hollywood for the big one?
Yeah. We were at the Chinese theater at the moment the big one happened.
It's a very LA,
very LA problem.
Yeah. But so we went out to a couple movies. Honestly, the Chinese is the worst movie experience I've had in the last week or a couple weeks. It's weird because we have.
See, I'd put the Edwards Alhambra ahead of that one.
But the seats themselves were comfortable. The experience in the movie was comfortable. It was just abysmal getting into the movie.
Yeah, it was 45 minutes to like get tickets and go through the line, and you had Methuselah up front, handling the. Like if there's a kiosk, I can do it so quick. I'm just like real good at getting through.
Bang, bang, bang.
But then when you got an old man who's just like, all right, so it's the 10:15, and there's that.
Why did he think he was speeding anything up?
Yeah,
I mean, if you stood there and been like, no, this is where you need to do that. I get that. But
by the way, he was security.
Yeah,
he was like a 74-year-old Jewish man.
Yeah.
Who was security. And I'm not making fun of 74-year-old Jewish man, but this guy looked like he could easily be taken down by almost anybody.
Yeah, I was wondering who he's gonna stop. He must have had a gun that we didn't see, because otherwise he's just like, okay,
no, but even then, I feel like you remember when like Heather Graham kicked the gun out of somebody's hand in Bowfinger?
Yes, yeah.
Like I imagine the same sort of thing could thwart him. He'd just like, hiya!
You go, all right, well, get on with it then. But
get on with the motherfucker.
But so we were able to go out to a lot of movies, and I wanted to mention we weren't able to catch the live version of SNL, but I want to give a shout out to the
live version of SNL.
Yeah,
you mean SNL when it was happening live?
Yes, I mean I saw
because I mean every week is a live version of SNL.
I saw clips on Facebook.
That's what the L stands for.
I understand that. I found clips on Facebook, and I want to just give a shout out to all the SNL writers who clearly are listening to the podcast because they stole my whole bit.
Yeah,
and I am glad that there is an echo chamber taking my message out there, but I really appreciate that. Like, give me some credit or. Get an agent or
donate to the source a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit or something. But if you didn't watch, there was basically this game show segment on SNL. I don't want to butcher the name. It's called the Nothing Matters sketch. Yeah. And it's a game show where it's like, does this matter or not? Nope, doesn't matter. It's just a bunch of crazy stuff that's going on in the world and whether or not it'll cause actual change. And spoiler alert, it hasn't. Everything's exactly the same, including the numbskulls that we have running the United States Senate right now.
Yep.
So if you've been living under a rock, you may not know that on Friday at midnight...
But guess what? It's going to be a different set of numbskulls that we make fun of this time.
I suppose. I mean...
Well, I guess we can make fun of all the numbskulls.
Yes, they're all one big group to me, so it doesn't really matter. But yes, if you've been living under a rock and you don't know, last Friday at midnight, the government shut down. No, wait, Thursday at midnight. No, it was Friday at midnight.
Yeah.
Because it was over the weekend. So the government was technically shut down over the weekend. Whether or not you saw any results of that, probably not.
Or even noticed it.
Yeah. And if you don't follow the news, God bless you. And please continue to do that because I wish I could. I get exposed to the news accidentally.
Yeah.
From my Twitter and from Corey watching CNN all day like a housefrau. But the government shut down because they couldn't come to an agreement on extending the budget. We had a continuing resolution. For those of you who don't know what that is, that means that we are going to use the same budget that we had last time and let it roll over for a certain number of times. The first one was a month, right? It was early December to early January.
There have been like 3 of them so far.
Yeah.
So
and this was actually for another continuing resolution because we still don't have a budget because that's a way to run a democracy. And they couldn't get it passed because the Democrats finally took a stand and said, we want CHIP included, we want DACA included, and if you don't include those, we're not going to vote for it. And funny enough, the bill wasn't extreme enough for those on the far right side, so they couldn't vote for it either.
Yeah.
You don't have 60, which is a cloture vote. Cloture vote. Mm-hmm. When you don't have that, then the bill can't move on, and it stalls, and just nothing happens. And instead, they stand around on the floor talking. I think we were up till like 2 or 3, and they were still discussing whether or not something was going to happen.
Right, they were all gathered around in little groups. I knew Senator Lindsey Graham was sort of like the ringleader of one of these groups.
Yeah.
You could just see a big semicircle around him.
They call them scrums.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize, but they actually call it a scrum. It's when the senators on the floor get into little groups. And if you guys don't know international sports, scrum is how you start the
rugby.
down in rugby, basically. It's everybody gets in and locks in. And it looks a lot like that, except for I'm pretty sure
none of them would be very good at rugby.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not really the age group or the monetary group that you want playing rugby. But
though I wouldn't mind Dianne Feinstein playing some rugby. Just take care of our problem.
Well, no, I think she could take a hit. She reminds. It's like Bob Barker when he fights Billy Madison, and he's just like, "Bring it, bitch!" Pa. Yeah, like I feel like that's Dianne Feinstein. But then this afternoon, again, we were recording on Monday because we wanted to wait it out and see what would happen with this over the weekend. And I think I said to you, "There's a good chance that this gets solved on Monday. Let's just wait until Monday to record."
Yeah, and I said I hope not.
Yeah. But now you get an OTA After Dark episode after it. So
yeah, because we wanted to wait out the football and we wanted to wait out the shutdown, and everything was decided by Monday when we record. So
it was
indeed. Works out nicely. A point of contention for the Democrats. You guys are fucking huge pussies, like gargantuan. Like you folded like a cheap card table almost immediately. I can't believe any of you have legs or backbones, and you're almost worse than Paul Ryan. That's going to be my number one overall thought on this.
Okay.
I feel like if you guys are going to shut down the government, you should stick by it and make them feel the pressure a little bit. And by them, I mean the Republicans and Trump and stuff like that, because I imagine that all the polls that they've been taking this weekend to try and figure out like what the pulse of America is on this would have said Republicans are responsible for all this in a landslide.
Yes, on Friday you would have been absolutely right, but unfortunately today you would have been wrong. The poll that came out from Sunday afternoon actually had it moving towards a more 50-50 split of Republicans versus Democrats, which is one reason why they folded. Now, let me ask you this. Are the Democrats in a better position, a worse position, or the same position as they were on Thursday?
A worse position.
Why is that?
Because they gave up the high ground.
What high ground did they give up?
They gave up the ability to... They clearly showed that they aren't willing to shut down the government and let it roll. So the threat is gone now.
There was no concessions by the Republicans?
To discuss the DACA, having a clean DACA vote.
That's one, yeah. To go into the normal proceedings for the DACA vote.
Exactly.
Which, by the way, I'll get to that next point in a second. Go ahead. Was anything else?
They got CHIP funded for 6 years.
I like that you just throw that in there like it's nothing. They got the CHIP program funded for 6 years.
This is what's upsetting me about the Democrats here. The CHIP funding lapses.
Yeah.
And everybody, Republicans and Democrats, have been saying, let's do this for the entire time since September when it lapsed.
Right.
And the Republicans, being better tacticians than the Democrats are, have been holding out this as part of a budget negotiation.
Yeah.
It should have been a non-starter issue.
Right. No,
for Democrats. It should have been like, hey, this is something we all want separately, so let's not even waste our time talking about this. Let's just get a clean vote on it. Let's be done, and it's over. But no, the Republicans let them hold that hostage, and the Democrats gladly gave in to their demands.
I don't think you understand how being the minority party in a body like the Congress
No, I know.
works.
I get they don't have the advantages of being able to do these types of things, but I'm saying that it's like when you start calling me a racist or a cuck or something like that.
When I start speaking the truth, yeah, I understand. Okay,
when you do those things, the more I engage, the more I let you know that it bothers me.
Yeah.
The more you do it.
Oh, absolutely true. And by the way, it's become the new thing. Calling Corey a racist has kind of gotten old. So now I've called him a
especially
cuck.
because it's been so radically untrue for so long.
I mean, our viewers can decide if you think that Corey has been super racist in the past. If you're following along with us on Facebook, which you absolutely should, facebook.com/O The Anthem, where we have our live video going, you should put a 1 if you think Corey's racist in the chat, and a 2 if you think Corey's not racist. And we'll wait for that poll result.
Or how about like a haha?
Oh, you want to do a haha face? All right, so haha face for Corey's not racist, angry face for Corey is racist.
Okay,
so
let's
let's see.
We'll see how
you
these
keep
things.
An eye on that. But
yeah.
that got old because Corey just doesn't feed into it anymore. So
right.
now the new thing is that I like to call Corey a cuck. And while
and not cuck like people in the political sphere have been calling people cucks, like a cuckold.
A cuckold,
yeah.
Yes. But I mean, that's the same thing. That's
I know, but I'm saying
the
iteration of cuck in the Republican sense is different than that.
True. The underlying meaning is the same, though. And that is what I've been saying is that, and it still seems to bother him. He's not engaging as much, but I can see like when I'm not going to pour this wine. I'm going to open the bottle. I'm going to get the glass. I'm going to give it to her in the bathtub, but I'm not pouring it for her because I'm not a cuckold.
Just learned it this weekend too. He's just trying to get it going. But I'm saying, like, the Democrats throughout this entire process have been like, I can't believe you took Chip away, or you're not negotiating on Chip. And then the Republicans knew they had a card to play on Chip.
Right.
Trump there was the Dream Act. It was already passed. It was out there. It was defending the Dreamers. It was doing everything that everyone basically agrees is the correct path for this issue.
Right.
80% of people, including 60-something% of Republicans. Trump basically just said, this is another thing Obama did and I don't want it anymore, and got rid of it by claiming that it was a action of the executive branch and could be taken away by the executive branch.
Which is true.
And then this became a new, the Democrats got all upset about it, and it became a new thing that happened.
Yeah.
So I'm saying if you don't feed into their advantages, then you're not going to be in the position where you have to use the potential threat of a shutdown to get what you want.
But they're the minority party. Chip votes went up. DACA votes went up, and they died on the floor because they weren't sent to committee. Because that's what it's like to be in the minority party. So you got to get it where you can. And they shut down the government. They got Chip funded for 6 years, which means, God help us, it'll be done 4 years before Trump is, or after Trump is in office, and maybe we can get some sense back. Well, maybe 5 years. Keep those fingers crossed, folks. 5 years after. Oh, wait.
Was that ha, angry, like? There's all kinds of things happening here.
I think people may have missed the point of the poll. But anyway, nonetheless, so they got the chip funding, which they wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Yes. Was it a chip that the Republicans cashed in? Absolutely. Were they going to get it? No, they were not going to get it.
Yeah.
So it's better that they cash the chip in and they get this. And my other part of an advantage here, the resolution's only for 3 weeks. So in 3 weeks, they can shut the government down again.
Yeah, but you might as well have just kept the government shut down this entire time.
No, because that means people aren't getting Social Security checks. That means people aren't getting paid who work for the federal government. There are better ways that we can do that. We can instead say, all right, now we have 3 weeks. Now, in the next 3 weeks, you need to do these 3 things. We need to have a real discussion about DACA that leads to a vote, that leads, an up and down vote on DACA. Mm-hmm. We'll see how that goes. We need to fix
But then what does Trump sign? I mean, like, essentially what McConnell agreed to was letting the Democrats have their day on the floor, right? Because Trump can, or the House can, say no to whatever they come up with.
And see, here's the thing. This is why I don't understand that's not a mentality of governance. You do the thing. You let the other house be the one to blame. Let Paul Ryan carry the mantle of killer of DACA on his shoulders if he wants. Because you know what? He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. He does not want to go. Wisconsin is a majority white state. But if you don't think that there are a large portion of Hispanics that live in that state that are watching this very closely, you're wrong.
Yeah.
And the Republicans have, since 2000, made great inroads with Hispanic voters. Now, Paul Ryan is thinking, well, they sent me a DACA bill. Do I pass it or do I kill it and become the killer of DACA and then have to go up for re-election 6 months later? Of course not. Of course not, especially when he's got a Republican challenger. So, yes, so they pass it and they send it to Trump's desk. And what does Trump do?
He's gonna sit on it.
He'll veto it either by pocket or by signature. He'll veto it. There's not 60 votes to get it overturned in the Senate, so it will just be dead.
There should be.
Then you get to put the mantle of DACA killer on Trump. We tried very hard to make this a Trump shutdown, which is what it is. And they tried everything, including official White House press releases that had hashtag Schumer shutdown on it. Like,
yeah.
What year is it? What are we doing? This is ridiculous. But put the mantle on his shoulders. He vetoed it. That's his bill. He has to swallow it. And then who's going to want Trump to come out to their district in 2018? Nobody from the Southwest. Nobody from the West.
Yeah.
The Southeast is going to be difficult too. Northeast, you might only be able to go into certain very white areas, like, I don't know, Indiana. And then while you're there, maybe Trump wants to come out.
You can still do like Alabama and stuff like that.
I think that there are more.
See, but
Hispanics
the problem is, there's Democrats in these places that, you're like, obviously Trump's never coming to California,
right?
Because the number of Democrats who would protest every single move he makes way outweighs the number of supporters in his camp who would come out and do the same thing. So if you're going to he's going to go to the places which are safe, which is why he went to Pensacola, which is right on the border of Florida and Alabama.
Yeah.
It's why he goes to like things in like Tennessee and Indiana and Iowa and all these places that are just hotbeds of Trumpness.
Right.
And it'll just continue to be the same.
Okay. But
he'll go to like rural Nevada somewhere. He'll go to...
But again, you get him on the record as the veto. This whole thing about like we don't pass bills that we don't know can get signed, that is a new phenomenon. We spent the last 200 years passing bills and putting them on the president's desk and saying, sign it or don't. And the Senate passing something and sending it to the House and saying, you agree with us or you don't, or pass something similar and we'll go into conference committee and fix it. But we have gotten to this place where one of the reasons Congress doesn't work is because they only do stuff they know can get passed.
Yeah.
Screw that. Put the bill in. Let's get a vote on it. Let's let everybody, the world and the country as a whole, know where everyone stands on it. Get the up or down vote. That's it. Stop worrying about whether or not it's going to get signed into law. Get some good things done, and then we can run on that in 2018. But they're not going to do that. They are. I don't give you that they're cowards about the shutdown because I think they played a hand. They took the pot. It was a smaller pot than they wanted, but they have a chance with another hand in 3 weeks. So why not?
I think the only hope that a lot of these the Democratic Party really had in the end was trying to align as many people. I mean, you gotta come around to the way the party is progressing, and the Sanders wing of the party is where it's going to be going in the future. The Clinton side is the dying breed,
right? But that is.
But I'm saying, like, the people just fucking learn from your fucking mistakes and fix this. Like,
this is the thing,
just get in line.
DACA would not be an issue if the Bernie wing of the party wasn't the one controlling the party. That's where it comes from. That's DACA being on the table at all, and them not just saying, well, okay, the DREAM Act's gone, let's move on to the next thing, is because of the progressive influence of the outer limits of the party.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we're even having this discussion. And they didn't give up on it. They got a vote, and if there isn't going to be a vote, if there is no vote, if there is no bill, they'll shut it down again in 3 months or 3 weeks, and you're no better off. But you know who is better off? The 9 million children, American children, citizens of this country who are now going to have health care coverage when they lost it for the last 3 months because they shut it down and they got chip back.
As they should.
Okay. But I'm saying, so yes, there is a winner here. The 9 million American citizens who are going to be getting insurance now when they had lost it 3 months ago are winners in this. That's who's a winner now.
Yeah, but who is the winner for having that get through? Not the Democrats.
It doesn't fucking matter. This is the thing. You and everyone else are so focused on, is this a win for the Republicans or a win for the Democrats? I don't give a fuck who's winning. Because you know what? It's messed up that we only have 2 parties. We should have 10 parties and make them form a coalition government. But In the meantime, since we only have 2, the winner here is the American people. And if DACA gets passed, it's not a win for both.
I couldn't disagree more. Holding children's health insurance hostage, which is what both these parties are doing, is sick.
But you realize there would not have been a vote at all. Chip would not even be on the table if it wasn't for the shutdown. That's it. They got a concession in the negotiation. Should it ever be a negotiation? Children's insurance, should it ever be a negotiation? Absolutely not. The day that before it expired...
Don't say that it shouldn't be part of negotiation, because obviously there's going to be things that, you can talk about levels of where you're funding it or where the money's going or what kind of assets we're going to use for it and stuff like that.
This is why you're okay with American children dying. And I'm saying, no, this should never be a negotiation. If kids need insurance, we are the wealthiest country in the history of the world. The 1% in the United States owns more property and wealth than the bottom 200 million people.
If I told you chip costs $600 trillion, would we talk about it?
Does it actually cost $600
No, but I'm saying if it did, would we talk about it?
Absolutely.
Okay, so there is a point where we would negotiate.
No, there's no negotiation. You give them the insurance. At what cost, it doesn't matter.
No, but you want to try and make sure that you have government programs that cost a certain amount of money so that you get the best value for your money.
Here's the best value. American children have health insurance and they're not dying from preventable disease. That is the best end result. My focus is on people and making sure their lives are better. That's why my political beliefs are what they are.
Could chip be better?
Could it be better?
Yeah.
Yes.
Could we spend
Remove the words under 65 from the Medicare Act of 1965.
Could we spend more money on chip?
Absolutely.
Okay, so is the fact that we're not doing this a worst case scenario for America?
No, because we wouldn't even be having the discussion. This Congress would not have the discussion.
It shouldn't be up for discussion.
You're right. They should have renewed it the day of.
The Republicans have let this lapse as a part of a negotiation tactic.
But again, if they let it lapse and the Democrats can never get a vote on it, what does it matter? Yes, we got it back. That is a win. Was it a concession and we got it back? Yes, but you're not going to get it back. If the budget was already ready and we were having clearing budgets through 2020, would chip ever come up in a discussion? Would there ever be a bill on chip?
Yes.
No, there would not.
People want chip. Both parties, both sides of the 78% of the American people want chip.
And it doesn't nobody gives a fuck in Washington what the American people want.
Oh, I know, but I'm
saying the tax bill, they voted for everything else. But the point of the matter is, the Democrats have put in bill after bill after bill, and all of these centrist Republicans that you have so much faith in voted it down every single time. They voted to not continue it along the normal progression.
Yeah.
So your argument is, well, they made it a bargaining position to get to a budget. I don't think so. I think they want to cut the fat, and to them, poor children's health care is fat. Not the giveaways to the health insurance companies, not the giveaways to the 1% or the 10% or anything else. Children's health care, which costs a minuscule amount next to those tax cuts, was the fat that they could trim.
If I was selling a car and you were buying a car and you asked me what the price is, and I said for the next 5 seconds, the price is $20,000. And you're like, well, I'm not going to just randomly agree to, well, now it's 22.
Okay.
Are you going to accept 22 as the new starting point, or are you going to work off of 20 as a negotiator, as somebody who has in your life been the person negotiating?
Do 17 children get diagnosed with preventable diseases in the 5 seconds that the price goes up? Do 3 children die from preventable diseases in the 5 seconds while that offer's on the table? I'm trying to make the risk the same here. Right. Because you're talking about buying a car. I'm talking about children dying. Yes, American children dying.
I understand. I'm saying you wouldn't, if somebody came to you with an offer and then raised the offer, then and for no other reason than they wanted to see you squirm, then as a negotiator, and when you sit down as a negotiator, you have to think in the broader scheme. Your efforts here today are going to impact the lives of others. You can't think about how many seconds equal how many children getting a preventable disease. You have to think about it in terms of a deal that you're negotiating.
Right. And so despite the fact that this started out with you saying we shouldn't negotiate about children's lives, the truth comes out, and it is all a negotiation. That is the Republican tactic. Everything is up for bidding and negotiation. And my policy is it's not. Children's health care is not up.
I'm putting you in the position. If I said 20 and then I said 5 seconds later it's 22 now,
right?
Would you negotiate off the 22 price, or would you keep fighting to get me back down to 20? Because clearly I'd be okay with 20. Because I put it up there for at some point. I put 20 up on the table.
Children are dying because of this. When you say 20, but it's only good for
you can't I take it. Fucking think of it like that.
Yes, I can, because American lives, lives of children are more important than whatever else we would get.
Okay, so
and let's roll it out for 2 years, and then after we get a new president and a new Congress.
If you're Schumer and I'm McConnell, and we both sit down and we both say children's health insurance is important, let's agree on this. Let's just fund it for 6 years, and we shake hands. The second that we shake hands, do children with preventable diseases suddenly get cured?
No.
So the actual amount of time that we spend negotiating and working out the deal doesn't really mean anything.
It does when the bill expires and kids lose insurance that day.
I get that. I'm saying that if you have a problem with that, you have a problem with the Republicans who took it away for no reason.
Well, I have a problem with the Democrats too for not shutting down the entire U.S. Senate when 9 million children lost health insurance. Because you know what? All 100 of them, or 97, or however many is actually there, all of them have the ability to shut down that body.
Yeah.
You go in, you filibuster everything, and you get nothing done until we talk about it.
They couldn't get the filibuster until January.
Why not?
Because they had voted against the filibuster rule.
Well, first of all, you don't do that. But you're right. Yes.
Yeah.
First of all, you don't change the rules of the Senate. That's why. But nonetheless, you go up and you take the floor. You do what the House Democrats did. What did they do when their ability to negotiate was gone? They went and sat in the fucking floor.
Yeah.
You go sit in the well of the U.S. Senate and you say no business will be done until we discuss this. So unless, Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, you're willing to put that discussion on the table, then we are going to sit here and we're going to chant, and there's going to be at least 10 of us here every moment of every day so that no business gets done. But no, we didn't do that. No, we sat on our haunches because in the end, the Democrats treated it like a bargaining chip the same way that the Republicans did. Instead of caring about children and how it impacts them, they wanted to use it as a negotiating tactic.
I see a message here from Kent. I think he's taken over the job as press secretary for Kevin.
Okay.
Don't fall into the trap. Democrats are full of crap.
Kent
sounds very.
Here's the thing.
You know, Kent is like the Democratic version of Trump. He just listens to whoever the last person he talked to is.
Probably so.
So Kent, just earplugs extra hard for us when we're talking.
Okay, so here's the thing. We were discussing what's the matter with Kansas the other day.
Yeah.
And this is what I don't understand. An unpolitically educated body, voter body, is just literally taking whatever the last great thing that they heard is. And yes, absolutely, Kent, Democrats are full of crap. And you know who else is full of crap? Republicans. And you know who else is? Any independent that is currently in Washington, D.C. They're all miserable.
I don't know. Angus King seems like a real sharpshooter. Angus King.
I have no idea who that is.
The independent senator from Maine?
No.
I'm just...
Toss the bums out. But here's the difficult thing is...
I was just naming the only independent senator I could think of.
Bernie
Sanders.
Sanders?
Yeah, Bernie.
Anyway.
I forgot that he switched back. After
So the difficulty is that everyone hates Congress. They have like a 21% approval rating or whatever it is right now. But 96% of them will be sent back. Why? Because the Senate sucks, but my senator is great. And Congress sucks, but my congressman is great.
Not mine.
Well, no, our congressman sucks. Do not vote for Andy Harris. Literally anyone other than Andy Harris is preferable.
I was also going to say Senator Feinstein. I'm ready to...
Oh, yes.
I found out there's somebody else. There's some guy running against him. He's from L.A. He's a state senator.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about just walking into the office and being like, what can I do?
Yeah. Anything to beat her.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, the difficulty is that we will send this bunch of bums back and they'll just keep doing the same thing. That is, unless we flex our muscles as one. And it's interesting because we saw that on Saturday after the shutdown started.
Yeah. Saturday?
It was Saturday. Yep.
Yeah. Couldn't remember.
So you were there.
Yeah.
I was not. What is your take? First of all, what happened on Saturday?
Well, I showed up late, so I'm not like really up on like all the speeches and things like that had happened.
I meant like nationwide. Nationwide is it general?
Oh, well, I can't remember the exact number. I heard somewhere between 500,000 and 1 million women showed up for various marches across the country.
What?
20
million.
20
million people. Yes. There was 500,000 in L.A.
Oh, maybe that's what I heard.
Yeah. 500,000 in
Yeah.
L.A., 1.5 million in San Francisco.
Yeah,
New
San
York.
Francisco looked nuts.
Austin had the largest gathering of people in the history of Texas. So, yeah, 20 million. 20 million people. 20 million Americans got out of their homes on a blustery, even for L.A., afternoon and went out and marched and made their voices heard.
Yeah.
And what was that? What kind of march was it?
Women's March.
There you go. Hey,
Yeah.
okay. So
I'm aware of where I was going.
okay, I'm just checking with you. So, but what was your experience there? I know you got there late, but what was your experience otherwise?
I mean, it was nice. I think that it's a real unifying experience to be able to be with a large group of people who are all aspiring for greater things. It's nice that even though the demands from each individual person might be different, I like the idea of having a place where everybody is pushing for the same general principle, you know?
Yeah.
Like, even though a woman's issue to one person might be way different than a woman's issue to another, the fact that we're all there for women's issues in general is a positive first step.
Sure.
And I like the conversation.
I like the conversation too. I as I told one of my friends this weekend, I did
Though
not
I do wish everything would refine a little bit.
I did not go because I did not want my negative thoughts about the entire movement as a whole infecting, and so I stayed at home, and it's been widely
rather than being a bump on the log.
Yeah, other than being like, why is there a drum circle at a protest? This is not what a protest is supposed to be. It's supposed to be sending a message, not just having a big party.
Well, to be fair, this one, at least for the time period I was in Grand Park, did not erupt into a dance party or drum circles or anything like that.
And good,
there was booze set up for people who wanted to help run a political campaign or something like that, or sign up, register to vote, that sort of stuff.
And maybe the resistance is getting their shit together, and I hope so. But I wanted to share some of my thoughts that I shared on Saturday while I was watching the news of the march.
Okay.
So this comes from Founding Future. That's FOUNDING FUTURE, which is my political, if you will, account on Twitter.
Your firebrand account.
Yeah. A lot of hot takes, a lot of stuff. But if you like political news, I retweet basically everything you need to see ever on Twitter from that account. So this is my sentiment. I see the millions marching today and wonder what we could really do if we set our minds to it. I'm reminded of the immortal words of Thomas Jefferson after Shays' Rebellion. And here's the quote. What country before ever existed a century and a half without a rebellion? And what country can preserve its liberties if their rulers not warned from time to time that their people preserve the spirit of resistance? Let them take arms. What signify a few lives lost in a century or two? The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. It is its manure. So, here's my thought. I saw 20 million Americans take to the street.
Yeah.
And how much difference is that going to make, really? Let's be honest. How much difference is 20 million Americans marching in the street really going to make?
I think so. There was one sign I saw that I really enjoyed. And it just said, we can do this every weekend, asshole.
Okay.
Which, no, not everybody, not the same amount of numbers would show up every single weekend. But
you could have a sizable protest every weekend.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying like what having these events, and I feel like the Women's March at this point is just another sort of annual event that's going to be happening for a while, for the foreseeable future.
Right.
Is the opportunity to put into motion the events that will allow you to rebel properly when absolutely needed. When the travel ban went into effect and people started protesting at airports.
Oh yeah, so they immediately went back and undid that, right?
No.
Oh, the courts did that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, but I'm saying like that was the first step to what will lead to eventually somebody starting a fire or burning something down or doing some sort of mischief, which shows that
was
this is more serious.
Though. What change is going to happen from 20 million Americans taking to the street?
yesterday,
Yeah.
nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
But
Now,
I'm saying that one event in addition to the many more that accompany it will hopefully one day bring real change.
okay. So what if I took 1/20th of that number, a million people, and I put a Kalashnikov in the hands of all of them? What difference would that make?
Google was really interested in what
Yeah, I know. The NSA is now officially listening. They heard my Thomas Jefferson quote, and they were like, "Hey, we gotta peek in on this."
Something really important is about to be said.
Guys, it's live on Facebook. You don't have to use our Google. There's no editing. It's live. But no, what if I put a Kalashnikov in the hands of 1 million, 1/20th of that amount?
Yeah.
How much change would get accomplished?
I mean, assuming that everyone knew how to operate those.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's assume.
It would be much bigger.
There would be a lot of change. That would happen really quickly. And
But what
instead of
change?
having 9 million children with their heads in guillotines, I surmise that it might be 535 people with their heads in guillotines. If you gave Kalashnikov to 1 million pissed off people and said, "Hey, change is not happening. We need to make the change ourselves," and then figure out how to do that.
I mean, I'm not against a massive overthrow of the government. I'm just saying that I think that we should be happy with the positive steps that we're taking so far. Is my point.
Listen, Dr. King, I appreciate all your efforts, but really, I mean, shouldn't we just be happy with the advancements that we've got? They call you colored in public now instead of using the N-word. Isn't that really?
That's not at all.
Really better?
That's not at all what I was
Just
getting
patience.
at. That's not at all what I said.
Okay, so what was I must have misunderstood your point. Go ahead.
I'm saying that the marches are a benefit to the public at large.
Okay.
And I'm saying much like civil rights marches were a benefit for the public at large.
Right.
And it's not saying stop doing that or anything like that. I'm just saying that just by nature of human activity and how things progress over time, the issues that are being handled at the Women's March, much like the issues that had been handled with civil rights over the entire history of this country, are slow moving. And it's not the type of thing that we as a people can instantly change overnight.
It's funny you should say that because the Black Panthers were organized. SNCC was organized in what general year?
Nope.
1961 or so.
Okay.
When was the Civil Rights Act?
65?
Voting Rights Act?
I can't remember.
65 was the Voting Rights Act. So these armed groups, after 400 years of essentially the civil rights movement, these groups are organized, and 4 years later, real change happens. I'm just saying, I've been preaching this for the last 2 years on this podcast.
Yeah.
That in the end, marching in the street is not going to be enough unless you are willing to take the next step. And as a great example, everyone should check out Winter on Fire on Netflix. I did a review of Winter on Fire on my YouTube channel, and it talks about how the people of the Ukraine basically said, "We've had enough. We're going to make a change now." And trust me, it's worth a watch. It's worth the 90 minutes that you're going to spend. But
so Rob's basic, in a nutshell, is let's not form any women's groups. Let's just form the IRA.
Do you know what one of the most deadly branches of the IRA is?
I assume you're going to tell me.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
It's the women. They have an entire brigade that is only women. And there's a new movie coming out, Red Sparrow. It's basically that. It's just like, hey, I'm really cute and Irish, and I put on makeup, and then I come in your house and I slit your throat while you sleep. So yeah, women's brigades are important to the revolution. A good revolution has everyone involved. And when I look at the crowd that's out at the Women's March, I see a perfect breakdown of society. There are probably 50-50 men and women, and the men are there supporting the issue that the women are.
I wouldn't say it's 50-50.
I think nationally speaking, not necessarily in LA.
I don't know if even nationally speaking it's 50-50.
Well, here's the thing.
I would more likely say like 75-25.
Okay. So 75-25. I mean, I think that women are perfectly capable of doing anything a man can do, and especially fire a weapon and rise in revolution. I mean, if you disagree with that, Corey, certainly, then there's some cause for concern. But if we could take that great cross-section of America, which is people of color, women, men, all supporting the same issue and just say, hey, we want to make real change happen and actually do something about it instead of just walking. Listen, I like the protest. I agree that bringing attention to the issue is great, but nothing is actually going to change. Change comes through direct action, not through indirect action.
Yeah.
And we need a little direct action. That's the problem.
Okay. Well, you've made your point clear.
Okay.
And
I'm sure the NSA is now watching.
Yeah.
It's like, doop, 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 doop. Boom. That's the
head of the NSA subscribed to the podcast weeks ago.
That's the
when we put guillotines on the cover art.
Did we actually do that?
Yeah.
I'm proud of you for doing that. Okay. But so we got a little bit of time left. I think.
Didn't I call the episode like guillotine time or something like that?
Maybe. But so we got a few minutes left, which means we have just enough time to take a trip on down to the Baltimore corner,
where you get the straight dope.
So as you know, we are still your Baltimore podcast talking about Baltimore issues, and a huge issue happened in the last week in Baltimore that we can't close out without addressing, and that is Kevin Davis is gone.
Oh.
I can hear that you're very upset about that. Now, the thing to be upset about is that he's going to get paid $150,000 for the next 3 years for doing nothing because he had a 5-year contract, and we're 2 years in. But aside from that, we have a new commissioner.
De Sousa.
And how are your feelings about the new commissioner?
I don't really know anything about him. I don't know anything that he's... I knew that he was planning on doing some sort of like doing a what is it, like deployment, like sort of like based off of like staggering time differences.
Yeah, instead of doing full shifts.
Yeah, rather than having people go like 8 to 4 or whatever, he had people coming out every single hour and just doing it like that.
Yep.
So I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. The problem is that nothing changes overnight.
Right. I'm just excited for the parades because with De Sousa leading the parade, it's probably going to be exciting. Was that a smart person joke you didn't get?
Maybe, yeah.
Philip Sousa, who is the originator of big band music, parade band music.
Yeah, completely went over my head. went over my head for sure.
So there's something called a sousaphone.
Yeah, I remember the sousaphone.
Yeah, Philip Sousa. I think it's De Sousa actually. Philip De Sousa designed the sousaphone, but he was like the first one to say, "Hey, let's take this band out on the road."
The more you know.
Listen, every time you listen to this podcast, you're going to learn something new. Now you can go look up Philip De Sousa, and it is De Sousa, I'm pretty sure, and find out about his glorious past.
Do you know if he's related to the new Baltimore police commissioner?
No, Philip is like Lily White and from like the North.
That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything.
Pretty sure they're not related. But I will say that a lot of people getting on the new commissioner immediately because there were 5 murders in 4 days over the weekend. But
doesn't work that fast.
No, it's like the economy. It's slow to turn under new leadership. And we are benefiting from the Obama economy, and we're benefiting, if you want to see it that way, from the Davis policing plan. So that'll be the truth for a while.
I just find that it feels like De Sousa had a long car ride with Pew at some point.
Okay.
Did you watch the press conference at all?
No, I had no interest. I already had something to go to sleep to, so seeing Pew on TV was superfluous.
Pew was talking about a conversation she had with De Sousa. It's just like, he was talking to me one day and it made a lot of sense. And it was just like, did this conversation just happen on one day? Like, it felt like he was part of the detail that was like driving with the mayor to something. And he's just like, hey, he got a lot of ideas about how we could change this police department around. And she's like, I've been so tired of Kevin Davis. I've just been looking for the chance. What are your ideas? And he's just like, everybody gets Sousa phones. And it's just like, brilliant. And then family legacy holds on.
We just walk down the street.
Instead of guns, everyone has Sousa phones.
Yeah. And then the criminals are actually afraid to come out of their house because of all the loud noise, and everything stays the same.
This music's terrible. Why is it always happening?
Stay inside. Don't shoot people. Although, I mean, like the cold, a parade of police every single day.
With Sousa phones?
Yeah, that would keep the criminals inside, I think.
And then don't give them lessons.
Yes. Yeah, just let them blow.
Just make them figure it out as they go.
But no, you and I are different in the fact that I like that he's a departmental guy. He's from the inside of the department. With a caveat that let's see what kind of departmental guy he is. Because it seems to me like this is from The Wire.
Daniels?
Daniels.
Yeah.
It's like if you made Daniels chief. Like, I'm hoping that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, and if it was Daniels becoming chief, I would be all right with it. But
Yeah.
I just, I don't know. Like just listening to him talk about it, it sounded like it sounded very much like a version of Rob that would become police commissioner.
Okay.
Where obviously you and a police commissioner are not going to have the same thought process, but he has the same approach.
Sure.
Where he's just like, here's all my harebrained schemes and they're going to work real well. And I can't tell you about the details, but you got to trust me. They're going to work because I'm really smart. And then years later, after he's had many attempts at this and they all blow up huge in his face because he has no idea what he's doing.
Yeah.
Then we'll go be like, hey, wait a minute. I thought you were really smart and this stuff was supposed to work. It's just like, it's not my fault. Other people are here. Other people have stopped me from being able to do this the way it's supposed to be done. That's why it doesn't work. If you would have just given me all the power, make me king for life, then I would be able to handle all this shit.
I'm just saying. Dictator for life. Dictator for 15 years. They could fix everything. That's all I'm saying.
Does it sound like Rob?
It did. The impression was flawless. But the other thing I'll say is that I wouldn't do that as police commissioner. I would disband the whole police force. But
just leave you.
Yeah, just me. Like Chuck Norris, everyone will come to fear me.
Just you and one stick.
Just spinning it around like it's 1898. But it's interesting that...
Did you know there is like a Baltimore method to doing that?
Yes.
Like
There's
different
like
police
spin,
departments have like different speed or spins and stuff.
They do like spin in the catch and then spin the other way in the catch. There's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Right. You can see them do it if you're about to get your ass beat in Fells Point for being drunk in public. But... Another interesting story that came out this week that we didn't even talk about, but I'm going to throw in here, is that did you see that the NYPD is getting upset that the PBA cards are being reduced?
Yeah.
So
I saw that one.
A problem that, or a solution maybe to the crime in Baltimore, or to the, not the crime, I guess, but the conviction rate in Baltimore, is just start handing out more PBA cards. And if you guys don't know what these are, every officer who's a member of the FOP gets a certain number of cards per year that they can give out to people that are essentially get out of jail free cards.
Yeah.
Like if you get pulled over now, so Maryland State Troopers, my understanding is it's a one-time use card. Like you put it in between your license and your registration, they take it, they keep the card, and then they don't give you a ticket.
Right.
Well, of course, they would never just not give you a ticket, but they would put that into the weight analysis of whether or not a ticket is appropriate.
Right. If you're doing 60 and a 55.
Yeah.
And you hand them the card, then you won't get a ticket for that. If you're doing 160 and a 55,
you might still get a ticket. Although maybe they give you a break.
But maybe you get a 60 on a 55.
No reckless driving, just 60.
I knocked 100 miles off your total because you got
Tell
the
your
card.
Uncle Johnny I said hi. Like, yeah, all right, thanks. But some people, like the NYPD's cards, are not one-time use. They are... You give them to them in between your registration and your license. Yeah. Or if they're stopped on the street, you give them your license and the PBA card. And then when they go to flip it and they realize it's a PBA card, they hand it back to you and they're like, yeah, get out of here.
A friend of mine from way back when was a drug dealer. Mm-hmm. And he had the like Maryland State Police, like, you know, like proud backer sticker or whatever on his car.
Never got pulled over.
Yeah. And I was like, he was like one day, like I remember him talking, like he was just like around his car, like leaning on the hood. He's just like, yeah, fuck the police. They're so worthless and stupid. And then I was just like, what? Why do you have that sticker on the back? He's like, don't get pulled over, bro. Got a police support sticker. Nobody has any questions.
Yeah, man. You put that blue line sticker up next to it and you'll never get pulled over. It'll be great.
It's like, and I'm driving around with weed in the car all the time, and I can't be pulled over. So I have my sticker there, and they think twice about it.
I know, but I mean, fuck them. Otherwise, I mean, fuck them. But you know.
I mean, obviously, I wouldn't want the sticker on the car, but if I'm carrying weight, then I gotta
do what you gotta
protect myself.
But yeah, so this is the society we have now. The FOP, the members of the FOP are upset that they can't get more cards to get their family members out of jail, out of trouble for free. And the new police commissioner is being blamed for murders that happened literally hours after he became commissioner. Yeah. But he's apparently implementing. And, of course, we are going to keep you abreast of all the developments, including the growing murder rate. Again, 5 and 4 days in Baltimore over the weekend.
And then what is it total, like 15 or something like that at this point?
I think we're up higher than that then. I think it was 15 last weekend. So it might be 20 now by the time people are listening to this on Tuesday. That's 20 in 23 days. Yeah. So, yeah, we are on a good path.
A blistering pace.
Blistering pace.
A winter pace, too. An incredible winter pace.
Yeah, just wait till summer. Then it gets really bad. But we'll, of course, keep you posted. So make sure you tune in every single week for the podcast, and we'll talk about Baltimore issues when they're appropriate.
Yeah. Now, real quick before we go.
Yeah.
Just for just a couple seconds.
Okay.
Because we sort of flew by it earlier. But I wanted to know if you had any specific Super Bowl thoughts other than hating the Patriots and not caring one way or the other about the Eagles.
I am excited about a Minneapolis Super Bowl. I think that their stadium is beautiful, and it'll be a great place to have a game that isn't owned by Jerry Johnson. So there's
Jerry Jones.
That's what I meant, Jerry Jones. So that's a plus. The Pro Bowl has a skills type thing going on with it, which I know isn't new, but they make it look very exciting on the commercials. So we'll see if they've stepped up their game for the Pro Bowl. Otherwise, the good news is most of the stars will be able to play in the Pro Bowl because they're not going to be in the Super Bowl, weirdly. So... not really. I mean, my plan is to take a cheat day and get drunk and eat a lot of food and use the game as a reason to do that. But otherwise,
I think the line right now is 5.5 favor of the Patriots.
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
Would you wager? I mean, you don't wager on that sort of thing, but hypothetically, if I gave you 100 hypothetical dollars to spend on this game, where would you lay?
The smart man's bet's still on the Patriots, but this Eagles team's got a lot of heart. So we'll see. That the defense, if the defense that showed up yesterday shows up in the Super Bowl, then easy money on the.
I would say if the defenses for both teams show up like they did on the Super Bowl, because the Jaguars squandered whatever chance they had of going to the Super Bowl. They had the lead late. They just couldn't put it away. Now,
the
granted,
Jags lost that game.
Yeah,
the Patriots didn't win it.
Now, granted, I fully prescribe to the videos out there that the Patriots and the referees are on the same page with this. Because
do you see him celebrating with
like the one referee like patting him on the back and like, hey,
good
did
job.
you see the one referee in the pile?
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Like after the touchdown celebration.
Like, what are you doing, man? And again, by the way, one penalty in that game versus the Jags. The last time that happened.
Patriots.
2011, Patriots versus the Ravens, where they got one penalty in a championship game. And the Jags were penalized, I think, for 115 yards or something like that.
Yeah.
And the Patriots had 1 5-yard.
The other fun fact about that, and I wasn't watching the game that closely other than the end.
Yeah.
But the Jaguars were the least penalized team when it came to defensive pass interference all year. They had like 6.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden they had 2 in very crucial spots. Now one of them I think I heard was pretty flagrant and should be called.
No.
But the other one was
okay. So the second one was closer to being flagrant, I guess if you would call it that.
Yeah.
But the problem is
more callable, I guess is the.
But again,
not flagrant, because flagrant implies like you like shove the guy down when
right. Yeah. So more likely to be called. But the problem was that they had just given up a 50-yard penalty on pass interference.
Right.
So I feel like the causation is we just got beat big, so I got to play closer because I can't give up any more yards.
I got to be handsy.
And then they had a little bit of handsiness that wouldn't get called any other time, but was probably more callable than the one they did call on the 50-yard penalty.
Right.
So that was like both of them jarring with each other. And then him coming up underneath, and they're like, he hit his hands there. I mean, I don't see a penalty here.
Yeah.
But, Jags.
I think it's going to be interesting this offseason, though, because Blake Bortles' contract is up.
Yeah.
Case Keenum's up.
Yep.
And I think all the Vikings quarterbacks are all like up at the same time, so they got to make a decision.
No, Bridgewater's they have to either cut him or pay him, basically. So it's not that it's up; it's at a break point. Where they can save money.
Cut him or start him kind of thing.
No, I think it's if they cut him before a certain date, then they don't have to pay him the end of the whatever's left on his contract.
Right, but I mean, like the contract. I think what I was hearing was like the contract is very palpable for a starting quarterback, but not like a backup. You know, so maybe he's going to make like $9 million next year,
right?
Which would be fine for a starter, but not fine for a backup.
A guy who hasn't thrown a ball in.
Unless you're Jimmy Garoppolo. And you were going to get re-signed by the Patriots at $9 million or whatever.
Yay! I mean, good. You guys get your money. It's all bullshit because you're getting paid way too much. But, nonetheless.
All right. Well, if you want to talk about people who are getting paid way too much or way too little, OTheAnthem.com, Corey to OTheAnthem.com. O The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line, 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595. Oh, and I keep forgetting
One of
this
these
part.
weeks.
It's
One of
new.
these weeks.
It's still new to me. I haven't broken the habit yet. You can find more of my stuff at CoreyBakerFilmmaker.com, Facebook.com/CoreyBakerFilm, and Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at LegendCB5. Check out the new review videos on my YouTube page because that's fun.
Okay, and you can find me on all your social networks at Robert N. Cheek. Make sure you check out robertncheek.com where you can find links to my political blog, foundingthefuture.us, the news website, adeaddrop.com, and the books, which are available on Amazon.
Powerhouse Books. Including
the newest book. Newest book is out, so make sure you grab a copy of The Calls. And when you do, click through the Amazon link on otheanthem.com so that you benefit the podcast as much as possible. And of course, if you want to support my writing and anything else, you can always do that at Patreon, patreon.com, patreon.com/Robert N. Cheek, where you can find all the stuff that I post normally, but you get it early, and a bunch of bonus stuff that nobody else sees. So there you
go. Well, I think we've done good here today.
We've done something. I don't know if it's good, but as always, except for the revolution, that's very good.
That's good stuff.
But as always, you're listening to the O The Anthem podcast, part of the O The Anthem digital network. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
Oh, shit. Real quick. I forgot we were going to talk about farts. Jim Asto.
Oh, yeah. So
what's your favorite kind of fart?
The one that doesn't involve Rachel, because those are the worst.
I like the one that like sounds like it's going to be a squeaker and then just has like a trombone moment at the end. So it's like... That's...
my favorite are the ones that never happened to me personally, but where you can see... a horrible decision was made. Like, never trust a fart. Those reasons. Like,
the one specifically, like where you're just like, oh no, and then you get up and then just sort of like walk into the bathroom here, like. That's the good one.
Yeah. Right. So we do what we can for all of the listeners and the viewers out there. Jim, that one's for you.
198 weeks of smart content. Good night, everybody.